All right, Steve here, and in this video what we're going to do is expand on our bending ideas, and I'm going to give you some fun bends to start thinking about. If you've already developed the bend itself and understand how important it is to bend in pitch, right? And you've already started exploring different places that you can play that bend around the fretboard, and we've been doing what's called basic bends or whole step bends, okay? What we're going to do now is we're going to start looking for some other places to do some unique things. So again, for now, I'm just going to be playing in A minor pentatonic, but I will expand it a little bit just to show you some different things that you can do. So the first thing I'd like to show you is what we refer to as a blues bend. A blues bend is a great bend to learn how to play, where what you do is you just subtly bend the string and it's out of tune. You're bending it out of tune. It's just a little teeny twist of the string. It's just that. At the end of a phrase is a really great place to do that, and you hear people do it all the time. So all you're doing is taking the string. You're not bending it a half step or something. You're just giving it a little bit of a twist right before you're ready to leave. You don't want to do it right away because then you'd be out of tune. If you went... You don't want to do that because the note's out of tune. But what you do is play the note, hold the note as long as you want, and then when you're ready to leave, you twist it. And what I like to do is after you've done that, if you just give it a little teeny pause and then maybe go to the root, right, to resolve the thing. So if I'm playing... Or I'll do just the opposite. I'll go to the root and resolve myself. And then I'll go to the note above it. And then just give it a little twist at the end. And what you want to do is listen to the way I'm playing it, not just the technical aspect of it, which is great, but think about the delivery, like how you hang out. And then boom, right at the end. And you can decide how long it takes to do that. I mean, you could go into it right away, right? The point is, though, is when you do that little blues bend, you'll notice there's a little bit of a pause because we're done with that phrase and we're moving on. If I go, that sounds cool too. Now you'll notice there's no pause. And it's just this little wah, which sounds cool too. So a blues bend, just a unique little flavor of giving a note just a little bit of a twist. And again, you might think to yourself, well, how many different places and blah, 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 and that's great. But learn how to do it in just one place. Right above the root is a great place to learn how to do that. Right? Just if you get used to just one place and really develop it, and then if you want to start doing it in other places, that's great. All right, the next thing I'd like to talk to you about is using a basic bend, but doing what's called a ghost or a reverse bend. So what I'm going to do is instead of bending the string up and then doing whatever I want, which is what we've been learning about, what I'm going to do is pre-bend it. So what the listener hears is the pitch in tune. So it takes a little while to get used to. And then there's this dissension, okay? This reverse element, which sounds really cool, a pre-bend or whatever you want to call this, okay? So it's deceptive because the person hears the note, but then it drops. Which sounds really cool. Now you can bend it up and then do a reverse back. You could do, obviously, bending it up and down, you know, in whatever capacity. But in this case, what we're doing is being deceptive by pre-bending it. So that's another really great thing that you can get used to doing. All right, the next thing I'd like to talk to you about that's really fun is doing what's called a 3-fret bend, which is exactly what that is instead of bending a whole step, you're actually bending a step and a half, okay? And a really great note to do that on is the root. So if I know where there's an A, like let's say I'm going to go to A up here, that's a really great place of being able to bend it a step and a half. So it's going to become C, because if we look at this, A, C, D, E, G, A, C, D, E, G, right? So if I go to that A, and it's got a real Hotel California kind of sound to it. Sounds really, really, really cool. And again, you have to know a little bit about your fretboard to think, well, where do I have a 3-fret movement, right? Well, I've got A to C, that's a 3-fretter, okay? If I look right here, okay, I'm on E to G, that'd be another place I could do a 3-fret. The only thing I would say is be a little careful on where on the fretboard you're trying to do these, because like here, it's a little bit harder because you're a little bit closer to the beginning of the guitar, but you can still totally do it. But they sound great, okay? And then, of course, here's A again, bending back to C. So those are a couple really great places that you can do a 3-fret bend. The next bend I'd like to introduce you to is not going to be pentatonic. We're going to add something to the pentatonic. It's a half-step bend, okay? So we don't have any half steps in a pentatonic scale. So what we're going to do is simply add something in, something that's very comfortable and is used widely, and you don't really have to know all your other scales to use it. So I'm just going to go here on the first string, which is A and C, my first 2 notes of my minor pentatonic, okay? And I'm going to add in the note B. And you're going to notice right there what I'm doing is taking that B and bending it to the pentatonic note C. And it's really pretty sounding. Half-step bends are really nice, especially if you play the notes around it. Right? So that's a half-step bend that we can do. And I like to kind of couple those with that sort of thing. So I'll use my basic bends around it to create phrases, which is really neat. And a half-step bend can exist anywhere, but if you don't really know a lot about your other scales, don't get too worried about it. Just start with something simple like adding this is called the 9th or the 2nd. And again, don't let that freak you out either, but that's what it is. So if I'm playing an A minor pentatonic, or any pentatonic for that matter, minor pentatonic, okay, if I go to the first string, I'm bending it from the B to the C. If I was in B minor, it'd be the same thing, okay? And the octave of that is right here. So you can bend that. And you'll notice it sounds very, very melodic. It's what the pentatonic really is missing sometimes is that half step. It sounds really, really pretty. And the last bend I'd like to introduce you to is, basically we'll look at this as just being called an exotic bend, which is really bending from somewhere that isn't part of the scale to something that is part of the scale, and it sounds really, really cool. So let's say I'm in A minor pentatonic, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here just to make it sound a little more dramatic. So I'm going to be in A minor pentatonic up here. Okay, so I'm right there. And I'm going to bend to my root, my A, with the note that's a half step in front of it, which is not pentatonic and it's not diatonic either, okay? It's just a note I want to play. And you can do that a lot of different ways. One way is just simply bending up a half step. It sounds really cool. What I like to do is add this kind of exotic flavor by doing a reverse bend or ghost bend or pre-bend. And I'll dip it and come back up, which gives it this kind of weird, kind of exotic sound. But it sounds really cool. And again, then what that means is really anywhere where you play a note that's going to be pentatonic, you could add that little twist. Even if the note was supposed to be from the scale or isn't from the scale, or it still gives, especially with that little dip, it still gives that kind of exotic flavor. Which sounds really, really cool. So I'll combine blues bends and half-step bends and 3-fret bends and all these different things together when I'm playing. Just, again, you don't have to use them all quickly and you don't have to use them all in a row, but to have that stuff available in your guitar arsenal is very, very important because they just change up the way things sound. So everything isn't just playing notes, over and over and over. Hey, it's Steve from GuitarZoom, and I'd like to invite you to get on a wait list to claim one of 500 GuitarZoom golden tickets on January 13th at 5 a.m. Pacific. Now, if you're one of the lucky guitar players who snags a GuitarZoom golden ticket, you're going to get 1-year access to every single guitar course, masterclass, VIP lesson, tab book, and jam track that I've ever created for a huge discount to celebrate the new year. Now, this will be your last chance to get a golden ticket until Black Friday 2023, and that's 11 months from now. And the last time we did this, they sold out. So click the button near this video to get on the waitlist and get a 1-hour head start to claim your GuitarZoom golden ticket on January 13th at 5 a.m. Pacific.